Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this second edition of this webinar series titled Functional Resilience After Solid Organ Transplantation. This session is entitled Back in the Game, Sports Participation After Transplantation. My name is Lisa Wickerson. I am a physiotherapist and a professor at the University of Toronto and a researcher at the University Health Network in the lung transplant program. This webinar series is co-hosted by the CDTRP. The CDTRP is hosted by the University of Alberta, which is located on Treaty 6 territory, a traditional gathering place for diverse Indigenous peoples, including the Cree, Blackfoot, Métis, Nakota Sioux, Iroquois, Dene, Ojibwe, Saulteaux, Anishinaabe, Inuit, and many others whose histories, languages, and cultures continue to influence our vibrant community. Before we begin, I would like to take the opportunity to acknowledge the Canadian Institute of Health Research, or CIHR, as this series was made possible due to their financial support. I would now like to introduce Alison Hickman to present on her story. Alison became involved with the transplant community in 2016 after her husband received a kidney transplant. Since then, she has volunteered with the Canadian Transplant Association's Newfoundland and Labrador branch, where she serves as treasurer. In 2020, she joined the national board of the Canadian Transplant Association as team manager. In this role, she supports transplant athletes and helps coordinate participation in events such as the Canadian Transplant Games and World Transplant Games, while promoting organ donation awareness and supporting the transplant community. This presentation will be followed by a Q&A session. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, you are welcome to ask them in the chat and they will be addressed during the Q&A. Alison, over to you.
Hi, everybody. I've been obviously involved for 10 years. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Canadian Transplant Association if you're not aware of what we are all about. We're a 100% volunteer-led registered charitable organization founded in 1987. Our community includes transplant recipients, candidates on transplant wait lists, donor families, living donors, and family members, friends, and healthcare professionals. Our mission is to encourage healthy lifestyles and to connect and support members of the Canadian transplant community through sport and other ways and other areas as well. How do we do this? Through respect, day-to-day in sports, day-to-day as well as in sports, through inclusion, daily, and in sports, every level of ability is welcome, from high-level athletes to those just trying a sport for the first time. And we're through transparency, through our community, and we collaborate with other transplant groups as well. So as team manager, one of the ways I'm here to support our community is through the Transplant Games, through communication, organization, support before, during, and after the games. And this year we have our Canadian Transplant Summer Games coming up. So I'm heavily involved in that through the local organizing committee, and I oversee the provincial team managers and provide communication to athletes and other provincial team managers, because I oversee all the all the provinces as we come together to organize and during the games. At the different events, I make sure everything runs smoothly and I answer questions. And above all, I make sure that everyone is getting the most out of their experience. So who can attend the games? Transplant recipients, living donors, donor families, and supporters. The donor families are those of deceased and living donors. For example, an example of a living donor family would be that My sister-in-law donated to my husband, so therefore her children can participate in the games. So it brings our broader community together, and people that have been involved in the process of the transplant. Who are the supporters that can attend? Their family and friends of our transplant recipients and our living donors or donor families. And at the Canadian Games, we allowed them to participate as well. So, why is the support system so important? Uh, it's because we need for the support and benefits of the whole game system is that for pediatric and adult recipients, it gives them an opportunity to meet and see other recipients from across the country. They get that opportunity to ask them questions, find out more about their transplants, talk about the journey that they've been on, and see often that their journey has been similar, but maybe they haven't had somebody to talk about because in their community, there may not be somebody else with a similar transplant or something of that nature. And they get the opportunity to talk about their meds, talk about what happened to them, because although everybody's journey is unique, it's still a common journey, and it's really invaluable for everybody to be able to share that and see that everybody's having similar challenges or different challenges, or know that they're just part of this overall community. The other thing about having the family members involved in the games themselves is because at the Canadian Games, they get the opportunity to participate. So for pediatric patients, it's their siblings. Often they haven't been able to really be involved in the community as easily or as much as the recipient has. So it gives them a chance to meet other family members, other children at the same age as they are that have been in this journey, and they get to spend some time doing things that they may not be able to do with relation to the transplant. So they get to participate in the sports, they get to have fun, and it's very free, and everybody's kind of there, and everybody's having fun. So the parents can compete, the children can compete, grandparents can compete at the games. So it brings the whole family together in the same, common cause. Supporters, so those could be the family members. They can be friends that have been along for this journey, or friends that are there to support our recipients, or our donor families, or our living donors. And they are a big part of this journey. We, as recipients, or the recipients, feel that they are such an important, because they have taken the time as living donors, and have given them the gift of life, or as a donor family have provided the gift of life. So we like to honor our donors at the event. And it's a big, big emotional time for everybody, for the donor families that have, especially if it's a deceased member that they've donated the organs, that they feel they can see what their journey has given in the gift of life, and how vital it is, and how much everybody appreciates that part of their journey. So then, so more information about the games. They're open from ages 4 to 90. We've had participants as young as 4 in the Canadian Games. We just adapt to their level of competition. So there's something there for everybody. They compete in their own age categories. So age categories from 4 all the way up to 90, 80, 90 plus, and broken down usually by 10-year categories. So it would be like 20 to 29, 30 to 39. So you're competing against people at the same age that you're at, if we can get the people, or we make a broader category if we need 20-year category. And the events are divided by categories as well. So we have donor families and in their own category, living donors in their own category, and recipients in their own category, as well as supporters in their own category. So everybody is competing with people that are in their category. So the donor families get to compete against other donor families, and the recipients compete against other recipients, and supporters compete against other supporters. We also have, we honor our donors at each Canadian game. So there's usually a donor walk where we have that time to spend with our donors or donor families, or if we just want to go and spend and give recipients a chance to express how they feel or take that moment to reflect on how they feel. We found that it's a very important part of the games, as well as family events to bring everybody together. So usually it's a picnic, a family picnic, or could be games. Every set of games is different. But we make sure that we spend that time to make sure that everybody is part of the games and that we bring everybody together, because that's a very valuable part of it for us. So the World Games are a little bit different than the Canadian Games. The Canadian Games happen every 2 years on the even years. And the World Summer Games happen every 2 years on the odd years. So, for example, this year we're going to be in Sherbrooke for the Canadian Games in 2026 in July. Last year in 2025, we were in Dresden with our biggest team ever of 80 recipients and supporters. And they competed in 15 different events. And there's always social events on the side as well. There's always a cultural night where we can display our Canadian culture and everybody else can have a chance to display their culture. And it's based on a different theme each time. Brings us all together to learn about the different cultures and learn about how everybody else is doing, how they want to express themselves. And it's open to everybody as well. And it's always a big turnout, because we always want to see how the other 50 countries that attend are going to represent themselves. Again, donor families, a donor walk or some sort of ceremony for our donors, or a picnic or something to bring all our donors and our recipients together. And there is a sport in the World Games, as in the Canadian Games, for everybody. Whether it's whatever level that you feel you can participate in, it's there for you. So it's from darts all the way up to triathlon. There's something for everybody, and in between when there's 15 different events. Then we have the Winter Games that happen in the even years again. It's on a much smaller scale, usually less than 500 people. And there's 6 events and social events as well. This is a bit more physical than the Summer Games in all aspects, but same thing. We're just going for that common goal of health and wellness in everybody, and you can be at any level to compete. We just want to involve everybody and keep that health and wellness component going. Okay, for safety and logistics, this is a very, very important part. Keeping recipients healthy and keeping everybody at the games healthy and safe is a big, big component of the games. We have a memorandum of understanding with the International Olympic Committee. So we do fall under their umbrella as trying to bring sport and encourage sport and healthy lifestyle and healthy living. So under the World Transplant Games Federation, who we fall under, the Canadian Transplant Association, we believe in health and fitness and healthy lifestyle and staying healthy after transplant. It's a highly organized, fine-tuned, oiled machine where we're behind the scenes. There's a lot happening. We try to stay on schedule. We have everything organized from transportation all the way down to accommodations and medical and all the rest on that. And there's always medical support at the games. Whether it's before we go, everybody has to make sure that their transplant team or signs them off if they're recipients, if they're living donors, that their doctor allows them to compete at the games. And then we have medical support on site from doctors, St. John's Ambulance in Canada, the local hospital, or if we're close to a transplant hospital, that everybody is aware what is happening and that they're ready for our 250 Canadian participants or our 2,500 world participants to arrive at the hospital. And it's top-notch healthcare wherever we go. We would never offer games where there's not a good infrastructure. We just had it in Germany, and it was outstanding medical support for us there. The food, same thing. We catered all dietary restrictions, and the venues, because we hold records for outstanding athletes who are competing and say swimming, we hold records in that and everything like that. The venues are all approved venues that meet the sport standards, and the accommodations can vary anywhere from hotel to, they had camping last time, up to 4-star hotels. So you can make a decision where you want to stay and what you want to do. I just have a little video to play for you to tell you what the athletes have to say about the games, because really they are the ones that have to say the most. I'm not sure if we can play that, can we? Yeah, there we go.
For me, sport is everything. It's a great sense of community. And after having a transplant, you still have life. You can still play sports. And that's what I love about the transplant games.
You don't have to be a great, strong competitor, but the most important thing I found here is a sense of belonging.
It's about participating. It's about honoring our donor and donor families. It's also about just being here and celebrating life.
There's two different types of athletes at the games. Those who are here to celebrate the gift of life, the second chance, and there's the more competitive one who really want to compete, win medals.
I use this more to help promote organ donation and the awareness of what life can be like after donation. That's what the games mean most to me.
You're a winner just because you're here. And I think we have to remember that.
I just want these games to inspire other people. Yes! So that they know they can live on and do so many things.
That's honestly what it's all about. It's a community. We support each other. We have fun. We're always there cheering each other on. We turn out for the sports. Like what you see is what you get when you come to the games. We're promoting that healthy lifestyle, getting ready for the games, brings everybody together. We start as soon as the games are announced and we know when registration is going to be, we start communicating with each other, supporting each other. If we're close to each other, we practice together. If not, we're there to support and answer anybody's questions and just helping everybody to achieve and be as healthy as they can be. I just want to touch on the travel insurance. Within Canada, it is your provincial health organization that does hold your insurance. So if I travel out of province and I go to another province, my health insurance where I live, it's MCP. MCP will cover, if you're in Ontario, OHIP will cover you. The only exception is in Quebec, where sometimes you're required to pay up front and your organization will reimburse you for that. That's just the way the health system works here. But the CTA has partnered with Ingle Insurance International if you require any additional insurance to travel within Canada or that type of thing. And internationally, the World Transplant Games Federation offered insurance in Germany when we were there last year, and you paid per day, and you could avail of it before the games and after the games if you were staying a little bit longer. I think it was $5 Canadian a day was what it equated to, because there's so many of us. And it allowed us to either carry our own insurance if our insurance covered our travel, or by going through them, it would cover any instance that happened while we were there. And we did have a couple. The insurance kicked in right away and was very helpful. Not an issue at all. I guess I'm taking any questions if anybody has any questions.
Well, thank you, everyone. What I think we'll do, thank you again, Alison, for your talk. I think I'm going to hand it over to my co-moderator, Sandra, and she'll introduce our second speaker.
Thanks, Lisa. So hi, my name is Sandra Holsworth. Probably should have said that when I first spoke. I'm part of the CDTRP. I am on their Theme 5 for long-term outcomes, so this fits right in with that. And I'm also the patient partner on the Patient Family Donor Platform. Personally, I've had a liver transplant 29 years ago, and I find myself currently waiting for another liver and unfortunately kidney, as I lost my kidney to sepsis in 2024 and I'm on dialysis. I've been fortunate to have attended all 10 Canadian Games, with the first one in Sherbrooke, and I'm really determined to get there again this year, but it all depends on my situation. I've also attended 7 World Games, with the last one in Sweden where I got to carry the flag for Canada, which was an honor. And because you meet so many people at these World Games, I've also attended 6 American Transplant Games. So for now, I'd like to introduce to you Donna Hart. Donna has had a lifelong interest in sports and believes we should all make activity part of our everyday life. Sport has always been an integral part of her life. In December of 2014, she was diagnosed with heart failure. Soon after, she was listed for a heart transplant. In May 2015, so 11 years is coming up, that's great, her life was saved when she received a heart transplant. As sport has always been an integral part of her life, Donna has won 6 medals, 1 silver and 5 bronze medals from the 2 World Transplant Games that she's attended. She is a past member of the Athletes Advisory Committee. That's new to me. That's congratulations on that. With the World Transplant Games. She has 14 medals from 3 Canadian Transplant Games. She's been married for over 40 years and has 2 adult children. Donna was a registered social worker, having graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree from the University of Waterloo. Her career focused on working with people with disabilities, assisting them to lead productive and future lives. Welcome, Donna. It's good to see you.
Thank you, Sandra. It's lovely to see you too. Marie Claire is going to do my slides because that's beyond my technical ability today. Marie, are you able to pull up the slide?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now.
Okay, thanks. Great, thank you. This is just the title of my presentation is Back in the Game, Participation After Transplant, and I love this picture, this film. This film was shown at the Calgary Film Festival. Slide 2 is the power of organ donation, and here we see someone who is donating their organs. Slide 3. Thank you. This is Addison MacArthur's donor's mom. Addison was less than a month old when she had a heart transplant. Felicia Hill came to both the Vancouver Canadian Transplant Games and the 25 World Transplant Games in Dresden. The first line in this post, I should be angry, I should be sad, why did this happen to me? Such a powerful statement that resonates with both donor families and recipients.
Why me? Why was I chosen? Why do I have organ failure? Existential questions that I never asked myself before before were common thoughts when I waited for my gift of life. Post-transplant, I asked myself, what am I to do with this gift? What will be my greater purpose? This is a question that I never asked myself before getting heart failure. It was participating in the Transplant Games and seeing the joy of the donor families that helped me square the questions I had for myself. Recipients felt honored to be in the presence of donor families, recipients, and were able to see the impact organ donation has made to families. Next slide. Exercise has been promoted as a treatment for a variety of psychiatric conditions. The benefits of exercise for depression are widely recognized, but the benefits of exercise for anxiety are uncertain. Slide 5. Thank you. Anxiety. There's lots to be anxious about. This is the cath lab, by the way, where you get your heart biopsies. There's lots to be anxious about in a medical situation. Regular blood work may detect problems when the patient feels fine and require another intervention. Lung transplant patients have the fear of reoccurring respiratory symptoms, and heart transplant patients have the fear of cardiac symptoms. A sense of helplessness and a feeling of being unable to control your own life is required through unpleasant experiences and traumas. I can speak of my own experience when I expressed that I was anxious about getting heart biopsies and was told they were no big deal. Yet there's lots to be anxious about with many medical tests beyond what the results are. If a person makes a mistake during a procedure, it is the patient that's left with the lasting legacy of that mistake. A generalized anxiety disorder can drift into many aspects of a patient's life. Next slide, please. I can speak of my own experience when I expressed that I was anxious about getting heart biopsies. I was told they were no big deal. Oh dear, sorry. All in all, sorry. Yet there's lots to be anxious about with many tests beyond what the results are. If a person makes a mistake during the procedure, it is the patient that's left with that lasting legacy. I am not on page 2, that's a problem. So. During the summer, I was very concerned about how high my heart rate was during swims. I contacted my heart transplant nurse, and she thought it was okay because I did okay with my stress test. My heart works harder at swimming than anything else, and a generalized anxiety disorder can drift into many aspects of a recipient's life. Next slide, please. In my lived experience, there's no fix for anxiety. Moderate exercise helps. Walking helps clear my mind and make plans for my goals that I would like to achieve next. High intensity workouts fuel my belief that anything is possible. Sometimes, no matter what I try to do to mitigate it, my anxiety keeps coming up. I don't know if I enjoy skiing yet I have been skiing for over 9 years. Post-transplant, I decided to take up skiing lessons again, and I noticed my first year of lessons that skiing over sections of the hill that pre-heart disease didn't bother me. I was feeling something. At first, I didn't understand what the feeling was, but then I realized it was anxiety. I felt it with heart biopsies. In addition to my acupuncture, I also started listening to meditation tapes to deal with the anxiety. It helped, but the anxiety did not go away. Next slide, please. Thank you. Concerns over my physical health inevitably found their way. Oh, geez, I've messed this up. Sorry. I'm sorry. This is about lack of control. Can we go to the one that's Gray Brett? Thank you. Gray Brett has achieved numerous swimming world records at both the masters and transplant level. The next 5 months, give or take, had tested his resolve. In September 2025, he ended up in the hospital battling a serious ulcer colitis flare-up. Things got real fast, he says, And he was on prednisone, and I was put on prednisone for the acute flare-up, which caused him to become hyperglycemic, which required him to become insulin dependent, just like a diabetic, and he needed to inject himself 4 times a day. The fatigue he felt like was the fatigue I felt was like anything I'd experienced, and before finding a medication to treat my longer-term colitis proved to be difficult and a longer process than he had expected. And Greg has numerous swimming awards, both at the World's Masters and Transplant level, World Transplants. Now I see what the problem is. Slide 10, next slide. Okay. When I started this journey almost 11 years ago, the biggest barrier I felt was my new heart. The mind knows, but the body cannot do. And in September 2015, 4 months post-transplant, I rejoined the Milton Masters Swim Club. My first swim, I swam 750 meters, and I was so dizzy when I finished a lap. I needed to hang on to something, the wall, the lane rope, but I could manage 25 meters without stopping. I was incredibly out of breath and sucking air every time I stopped. I told the transplant nurse that I planned to participate in the 2016 Transplant Games, and what I was told was it would be nice to participate. And that's where the team's expectations for me were zero. That's where I started. Once I decided to enter the 2016 Games, I looked up the current records. There were none. I found the results from the 2014 Games and chose my events based on them. Swimming with the Milton Masters Club helped tremendously. They all knew me from my old life and were extremely supportive. Unfortunately, the club died during COVID. Regular set times for cycling and swimming added structure to my workouts, and it was very helpful in those early days. One of the cardiologists with the transplant team asked me what motivates me on the days that I'm tired. I told her that knowing that when I'm tired, the competition is tired as well, and they are not resting. Knowing that thoughts become actions, I picture myself on the podium. My approach has always been that if I'm maintaining the same speed and getting older, I'm actually getting faster. Trying to stay injury-free is a constant challenge. As time lost to cancer appointments and treatments, it's during those challenges that I try to focus on what's going right. Next slide, please. Believing in yourself is easy to say, but very difficult to practice. Jillian Best, pictured here, is a phenomenal transplant athlete, beyond records at both the Canadian and World Transplant Games. She is the first transplant athlete to swim across Lake Ontario, a 52-kilometer swim. Next slide, please. Thank you. Since my transplant, how out of breath I get can make other people uncomfortable. They have expressed this comfort by saying that I don't belong in whatever activity I'm doing, and whether it be hiking, swimming, or cycling. It is their discomfort, not mine. The summer of 2025 was tough. I was swimming with a coach who would get into arguments about where I fit in the lane. She would place me behind swimmers who were much slower than me, and then when I asked to be moved to a faster lane, she said no. It was mentally hard, and many times I wondered if my goals for the 2025 World Transplant Games were in jeopardy because I could not swim as fast as I wanted. I generally felt like quitting. The coach argued that I was spending too much time on the side of the pool catching my breath and perhaps too focused on my heart rate, so I didn't deserve to move up. Adding to my frustration was the part that I'd already signed up for the World Transplant Games and the swim meet. The money was spent. The people that I swam with all winter were wondering why I was swimming in the lane I was in. And the people that I swam with that summer would ask me to go ahead of them, but the coach frowned on it. I had the benefit of an exercise physiologist telling a group that I was in that even 8 weeks of exercise can make a difference. And that statement got me through the summer of 2025. The World Games are very competitive, and you just don't know who's going to show up. The age brackets are 10 years. So a 68-year-old is competing alongside a 60-year-old. Getting ready at the games before each swim, I was able to write down each numbered event I was in, what heat, what lane. And I did this because I know that when I'm anxious, I don't think clearly. And I know that I can, have whatever resources I need to be able to focus at the task at hand. At the meet for my own success, I doubled down on listening to my meditation tapes and my current playlist of motivational songs. The goal is simple: to dive in and just for a moment glide, pull, and then rely on my training and know I've done everything I need to be ready for the moment. Next slide, please. I swam in a master's meet and the coach put me in a relay. And I thought, who wants me in a relay? Until I realized that my secret weapon was my age. We came in second, and it encouraged me to sign up for every relay at the World Transplant Games. I found one of our teammates crying in the change room. She was super stressed and said to me that everyone had a medal but her. But I didn't have a medal at that point either. We were in the relay together, and that afternoon, our team did okay. And this was my first medal of the 2025 Games, and it was a bronze. Next slide, please. Thanks. I swam swimming. In 2024, I joined the Burlington Masters for Worlds, and this year I'm swimming. And this year I'm swimming in drop-in lane swimming by myself. Drop-in lane swimming at one time was a mixed bag of swimmers who had zero idea of what a fast lane was and what a fast swimmer should look like, mixed with men who couldn't fathom that a senior woman might be faster than them. Very frustrating. This year, I've seemed to have found the sweet spot in drop-in lane swimming, and mostly I have a lane by myself or with one other person, and they understand lane swimming. I'm using the workouts that I got from last year being with the club. The move from a club to drop-in swimming, I really miss the social connection, chatting with people in between sets. Although I must say with the Burlington group, there was little time to chat between sets. I didn't rejoin Burlington Masters this year because of ongoing shoulder injuries, but my plan is to rejoin in 2020, like September 2025. Swimming is a cruel mistress. She doesn't like it when you're away. Next slide, please. The social aspect and support of the transplant community cannot be overstated. Participating in the Transplant Games gives family members an opportunity to meet with other transplant families and recipients who share the same experience. Networking at the Games, whether Canadian or Worlds, can reduce the feeling of isolation and foster a sense of connection and community through sport. One thing I would really like to emphasize with other transplant recipients is that attending the games and the connections you make are as important to your family as they are to you. Your family is going through the ups and downs with you. Seeing success at the games gives everyone hope for the future. For my family, these connections are important. My daughter has attended 2 World Games with us and has made many connections. And my husband enjoys taking pictures of people competing. We all arrive with the same goal: to have fun, connect, and support each other. The hard work is done, and now we can relax and reap the rewards of our hard work. Next slide, please. So the 7 people in this photo are recipients, and 2 are organ donors. In the 2018 Transplant Game, in 2018, the Canadian Transplant Games made the decision to allow donors to participate in the Canadian Transplant Games. Canadians led the way in opening the doors for donors and donor families in 2020. Oh, I lost my spot here. In 2024, the CTA opened the door to supporters of transplant athletes. This is the power of support. People supporting each other through their successes. Some countries have specialized professionals that travel with their transplant athletes to the games, and typically these countries have a smaller landmass than Canada, and most of the successful swimmers belong to a competitive club. Next slide, please. The Dresden WhatsApp group has created a supportive environment where participants encourage one another. It was due to Alison Hickman's commitment to social media that a group of attendees to the 2025 Dresden World Games are still in contact with each other. Transplant recipients, donors, donor families, and supporters are all connected via a WhatsApp group. In addition, individual sport groups have chat groups as well. Social connections through the WhatsApp continue, and participants in the chat discuss the various effects and symptoms of the medication. Next slide, please. The Canadian and World Transplant Games cater to both elite athletes and social participants, covering a wide range of capabilities from high exertion sports like triathlon to low impact activities like pentang, which I can't really say properly, and darts. The major criteria for participation in the transplant games is the use of immunosuppressant drugs, medications. Due to funding challenges, regional or health restrictions, or lack of local programs, some individuals with solid organ transplants may be unable to participate in specific high-level games. Slide 19. Thank you. I no longer ride with the club. I enjoy riding by myself, zero pressure, and I never feel like I'm holding the group up. Thanks to belonging to the Oakville Cycling Club, I have a group of women that I ride with, and we get together and ride often. My husband and I also go on bike tours, both that are arranged, and usually we have one Ontario by bike ride a year. I have my bike set up in the basement, and I do Zwift rides once a week. Zwift is a multiplayer virtual training app, but cycling is like a puppy. It's always glad to see you. Next slide, please. Recipients, supporters, donors, and donor families, for the most part, are self-funded or rely on their own fundraising efforts to attend both the Canadian and World Games. For the 2025 Games in Dresden, participants' teams could apply for a bursary, and then other people, as you see here, have done GoFundMe. And that's my presentation. Thank you.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much. I just wanted to again thank Alison and Donna for sharing information and your experiences. And thanks for everyone for joining us today and asking questions and being involved in the discussion. And I just wanted to note that our next webinar is focusing on wearables and virtual exercise options. And this will take place on June 17th, same time, 11:30 to 1 Eastern Standard Time. And we'll be using the same Zoom link, and reminders will be sent to you leading up to the event. So just want to thank everyone, and have a great day.